The State Department's deputy spokesman was further asked about a resolution that was adopted by the European Parliament, which calls upon the EU Council and Commission to designate the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps a terrorist organization.
First, we are aware of the European Parliament's resolution. The United States position on the IRGC has been quite clear. It is an entity that is subject to perhaps the most US sanctions of any entity on the planet. We have also specifically sanctioned many IRGC leaders individually for their involvement in terrorism and human rights abuses. Ultimately, though, Gita, it is up to each country, or in this case, up to the EU, EU blocks of countries to determine what is applicable under their governing systems and their legal systems, and what is in their best interests. As you know, we've applauded the EU's recent designations of IRGC officials and entities for their involvement in the provision of drones to Russia, which are being used to fuel Russia's infringement on Ukrainian sovereignty and being used to attack Ukraine's critical infrastructure.
It is important to know that voiced concerns over possible lashback from Tehran have been significantly diminished since the United States and its European allies involved in talks aimed at reviving the 2015 nuclear agreement, including Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, do not see the Ayatollah regime abandon its demand to politically dismiss open IAEA investigations into nuclear particles which were uncovered from within Iran.
We have been clear for quite some time that the JCPOA is not on the agenda, and it is not on the agenda largely because the Iranians killed any possibility of it being on the agenda.
While the nuclear agreement is seemingly off the table, EU member states are clearly standing up against Iran's unabashed behavior. Accordingly, the EU is expected to adopt a fourth package of sanctions against Iran during an EU foreign ministerial meeting on Monday.
Well, I think there are several components on this Iran debate. First is, of course, the appalling situation on the human rights currently in Iran and these capital punishments that Iran has been implementing against the opposition. It's definitely something that we don't accept, and it's important that we react very strongly to human rights situation in Iran, and particularly to Iranian women and so forth. The second issue, I would say a negative issue from the Iranian side, has been their military support to Russia, sending drones, sending weapons to Russia to attack Ukraine, and definitely this is something that we should also condemn with very strong words.
Helsinki's top diplomat made these remarks in Davos as world leaders are congregating in the Swiss city for the World Economic Forum. Among the topics discussed at the multilateral conference, Sweden and Finland's proactive attempt to appease a list of Turkish demands with the aim of joining the North Atlantic Alliance. In a Q&A session with Finland's Premier, Sanna Marin, she noted a conversation she had with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, in which he highlighted that he does not see any substantive obstacles for Helsinki to join NATO. In contrast to Finland, Turkey is seemingly at loggerheads with Sweden over a number of issues. The main point of contention relates to Ankara's insistence on Stockholm to take a more vigorous approach against Kurdish elements in the country that have ties to the Communist Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, including the extradition of a number of related individuals. Moreover, an effigy depicting President Erdogan, which was hung at an anti-Turkey protest in Stockholm, seemingly struck a nerve in Ankara, which called to investigate those responsible, a demand evidently rejected by Sweden's chief prosecutor.
Yani İsveç'in bu kelime oyunlarıyla bizi oyaladığını düşünüyorsa bunda aldandığını, kendisini aldattığını söylemek isterim. Ya teröristlerin bu döşediği mayınlara kurban olacaklar ya da herkes, hepimizin güvenliğini düşünerek bir imzaladığımız ahitnameyi uygulayarak ileriye doğru yürüyeceğiz. Burada da tercih İsveç'indir.
Despite these remarks, which were made earlier this week by Ankara's top diplomat, Sweden's Foreign Minister Tobias Billström asserted in seeming disregard of any rhetoric that all of the clauses which were agreed upon as part of the Memorandum of Understanding over admission of Sweden and Finland into NATO have been met.
The basis of the starting process of a ratification by the Parliament in Ankara has been the trilateral memorandum signed at the NATO summit last year by Sweden and Finland and Turkey. And we believe that we have now come to a point, reached a point, where Sweden and Finland have done what we committed ourselves to in this memorandum. And it is time for the Turkish Parliament to begin the ratification process.
While tensions remain high between Sweden and Turkey in particular, senior NATO officials have told TV7 that they are confident that the ratification of both Sweden and Finland would be advanced in the near future.